Okay, cool. All right.
We are back live with the After Hour.
Oh, okay. I am recording again.
All right. And I'm recording. I don't really feel like editing the After Hour.
Oh, I feel you. Okay.
You know what I
All
mean?
right. Well,
Because
this is
it's
for
just
my this is for my posterity then,
there
because
you go. There
yeah,
you go. Yeah. But
I'm drinking water. Are you fucking happy now?
honestly, aren't you? Like you could use a
No,
little hydration in your life.
it has no fizzy. No. So boring.
Sorry. Just needed to grab something out of the room.
Okay.
Um,
You don't have to cut your audio to talk to your wife. You're allowed to do that.
I don't know what's gonna pop out.
Okay.
Look,
All right.
you like you are ADHD and all that. So is she. You don't know what the hell is gonna pop out of you. Like you have a microphone in your face and headphones over your ears. You are like dialed in and focused. You don't know
Fair.
what the ADHD mind is gonna rattle off.
No, that's very true. That is it is a bomb waiting to go off at all times. That is for sure.
Yeah, I like you never like. I'll I'll keep the risk low. I mean, God, what really happened this week? Set aside from the VP debates, which did you watch?
Nope, these ones I did not. No, I didn't. I decided to bow out of these ones. I got
Any
enough of
reason?
the highlights. Huh?
Any reason?
I, well, I mean, I think it's just in general. I'm generally bored with the debates lately because I don't feel like they've never yielded anything new since like I think the Democratic primary debates of 2016 was like the last time I ever like learned anything new about a candidate during a debate. And so I've just kind of gotten bored with them lately. I watched the presidential debates that took place last week because there was a part of me that was really hoping that Kamala Harris would take out a pair of pliers and a blowtorch on the guy, and she only took out the blowtorch, and so I kind of walked away disappointed. So um
Well, it's not really debatable whether Harris won that debate or not. But the VP debate,
mhm.
that one's a little more up for question.
I have heard that was what happened. Yeah,
Because,
it basically is kind of like seems to be universally called a tie, is what it sounds like. Most people are saying.
but for strange reasons.
Mm,
So when you watch the VP debate, you see Walls, very genuine man,
mm,
very genuine. Technically speaking, he got his ass handed to him.
yeah,
JD Vance, he's a good debater. He like cannot take that away from him. He is
hmm,
a strong debater.
right,
But he lied. He was slick, and that doesn't work on the voters.
right.
Like that's the thing. Like, and in this generation, there are way more informed voters than there ever has been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
So those kind of lies, they may have worked in the past, and they dill they do still work on a lot of voters. However, we all know Trump said those things.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
when JD Vance, like he made, like JD Vance made a point that, um, Trump, he was there on January 20th, like handing over power. It's like, oh, literally, he's the only president in the history of our country to not have been there.
Yeah.
Like
No.
that
He
is
fit that is
wow,
it
what a lie.
was yeah, it was a big deal that yeah, he was not there for the handover. He bailed out like a little bitch. Everybody knows that. Everybody saw it. It
Yeah,
was
see,
live on C-SPAN.
see, like that, and that's the thing. And it was kind of not really kind of, it was a major deal. A lot of people were talking about it. That was a major
Mhm.
point. So for Vance to go up there and disrespect the voters like that.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel when I watch a politician lie to me in a way that is just so easily disproved. I'm like, dude, I just feel disrespected by the politician.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like JD, he, in all technical aspects, if he were being graded in school on the debate team or something like that, he absolutely 100% won the debate.
Right. Okay.
But we saw who he was, and we saw who Walls was.
Yeah.
Thing was, Walls was asked a question, and we got an answer that we don't get from politicians. I got caught up in the rhetoric, and I misspoke, and sometimes I'm a knucklehead.
He literally said that.
He literally said that.
Wow.
We don't
Jesus.
get that answer from politicians.
No,
So
we don't. Holy cow.
just from Walls saying that, he won.
Yeah, like mad respect. Like that is the most respectable thing I have ever heard anyone say before in politics.
And that's why I'm saying Vance handed him his ass. Walls still won.
Hmm.
In the way
Okay.
that mattered. Walls still won. And
Okay.
see, the thing is where people are like kind of arguing whether like calling it a tie. No, it wasn't. Vance handed him his ass. The only reason that people are even saying it's a tie is because of how genuine Walls was.
Okay.
When your integrity makes people argue that you won something that you straight up lost because of we got to see your character and your morality, I think you won.
Yeah, no, that's saying something for sure.
But this is still a neck and neck race, which
Yeah,
what?
I know.
I
I gotta wonder about that sometimes. You know, I I don't know. Like part of it is and they'll even openly admit like first of all, it's likely voters that are being polled. Anybody who's, young and registering for the first time is not being polled because they're not on the pollsters call list yet. Um, if they are my age or younger, they're not answering the phone to a phone number they don't recognize. So basically the people getting polled are people who have voted uh going back as far as Reagan and are somehow still alive. And so we honestly don't have any clue how this is going to go. And that also,
Nope.
and that, then that even like throws in the
Well,
monkey
there's the
wrench.
other part of like what he tried back in 2016 or
Hmm.
2020 with
Right. Yeah.
like the false slate of electors.
Yep.
There are more Trump loyalists in those positions than there were back in 2020.
That's the
So,
thing. It's
no,
like
Trump may
that's
very well wind up president, even though he may very well get crushed in the popular vote.
that's the thing. Yeah. And it's precisely why we need to, yeah. It's like, how much more evidence that the, the, the electoral college has to go do we need before we finally get rid of the damn thing? Um,
If it weren't for the Republican Party, I think it would already be gone.
Yeah, well, it's because it's the only way they can win anymore. I mean, that's the thing is
That is true. The
for
Republican
the
Party
with
does not like. When's the last time that anybody from the Republican Party has won the popular vote?
George Bush's reelection was the last time.
Was it the reelection? Okay.
Yep, he didn't even win it for his election, but he won it. He got it for his
No,
reelection.
it was
That
that
was
big court deal out in Florida, right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like in at least in my lifetime, um, Reagan. I don't think even for his reelection, I don't think he even got the popular vote. He might have gotten it for his election, but not his reelection. But then, yeah, even since Reagan, that the one the one time that a Republican president has won the popular vote was Bush's reelection. Since then, like they're just not popular. They win on
No, I
technicalities
mean,
only.
it's harder to win as a Democrat.
Mhm.
Um, because you can't just win by a majority. You have to win by a supermajority when it comes to
Yep.
things that happen in the House, which is why. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's a political reason that has been put out in the past, justifications for it. It does not. I can't think of how it makes sense. Like if we're running the republic under democracy, it should just be whoever gets the most votes. The whole
Yeah,
supermajority thing should not exist.
the
At least,
only
like I said, if it does, I don't know why
right.
it does.
The only argument I've heard against it that makes sense, that makes, and even then I'd say it's 50-50. I'd say it's an iffy on whether it makes sense, but it's the closest one to making sense.
Mhm.
And that is that because of the high population centers of places like New York, LA,
Oh
Portland,
well,
stuff like
no,
that,
okay, all of that,
you know,
yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
obvious, yeah.
It's so you like the idea of where a majority of votes are coming from the very urban areas, they don't want, the people in the urban areas to be dictating s- rural life that no
And
one
that,
understands.
but realistically, that does make sense. There is like when it comes to federal programs,
Mhm.
there is no reason why farms in California, North Dakota, Texas, and Florida should all be operating the same. They
Exactly,
don't.
yes.
They or the regulations should all be the same. They don't operate the same, so it doesn't make
Right.
sense to actually call it things like that. That when you talk about federal versus states' rights and
Mhm.
decisions, things that pertain to physical geography, like the climate of your region, the crops of
Right.
your region, things like that. Those kinds of decisions should absolutely be at the state level. But when
Mhm.
it comes to federal protections for the American citizens,
Right.
that should not be state level.
No,
You're an
absolutely, yeah.
American citizen, your protections should be there.
What yeah, and the weird thing is that a lot of these arguments, they do kinda come down to an assumption like this is gonna be the last time we're gonna talk about it.
That's never the
Where it's like
case.
yeah, like, it's like, people say like, "Oh, well, if you make this legal, then that sets a precedent that makes all these things, legal, and or if you do this, then people are just gonna wanna do that," and I'm just like, "Well, if people do wanna do that, then we'll discuss it then too." Like, it's not like we don't sit here and litigate every single fucking thing every single day. At no point does any domino ever fucking fall in this country.
Pretty much, well, no, they constantly fall, but they get picked back up. It's more like they never get
Mm.
removed from the deck.
No, yeah, no, that's a
The
very good
issue
point.
is there, and it comes back and all that. Like, I mean, when it came to the programs of building this country,
Mhm.
those were important, those were needed. But when it came to the programs over sustaining what we built in this country,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
like that is, and so when you're coming up against things like that, we have a lot of work that we still have to do with this country. And when it came to all the things that we put in for building it, a lot of
Mhm.
those things need to be changed because we found out about the long-term ramifications over using certain building materials.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like it's called learning, which what we talked about with the VP debate when like with Walls admitting that he like misspoke and that sometimes he's an idiot and things like that.
Yeah.
You don't ever hear that, but what you also never get to hear, almost, almost never get to hear, is that I sat down, I had the conversations, I learned.
Yeah.
A lot of people are attacking Harris on her flip flopping position for fracking.
Oh, yeah.
He went into the White House not having a full understanding over how many jobs actually like fracking help across this country, like all the things that come with that. So where she talked about in the past banning fracking, she has changed her mind and come
Sure.
around and talked about lessening it, putting up more restrictions and regulations towards it. She's not
Right.
talking about banning it anymore.
No,
That's
yeah.
not flip flopping. That's getting into a position and learning more from your position, growing
Right,
from it.
yeah. That's
That's what we
that's under
want from politicians.
exactly. That's understanding that, the I mean, like I was having this conversation with my son the other day where I was, we were talking economy and stuff like that. And I was you've heard me give this speech before about how I personally believe the worst thing in not just the American economy, the world economy is the stock market. The root of all evil in America starts
Yeah,
at the stock
okay, yeah, I've
market.
heard you give that
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah. Um, and I've said to him, I said, if I had my druthers, we would ban the stock market. The problem is that we have intertwined so much of our economy into the stock market that doing that would be beyond apocalyptic.
Uh-huh.
So we need to figure something else out. We need to figure out a way to stymie the damage it does, or work our way out of it slowly.
Well, that's
That's
one
what
of the
an
thing. Like
educated, reasonable person does.
during the summer of protest, there was one woman who her clip went very, very viral, and it was the black woman who was saying that um, burn it down. You remember that?
Mm, right.
There was one clip in
Vaguely,
particular
yes.
of this woman, glasses, braids, hair about down to here, and she was talking about burn it down. And they cut the clip and they shredded it to kind of say that she was talking about burn the country down. She was referencing
Oh, right.
legislation and all of these things and all of these bullshit programs that have really hurt the American people.
Right.
And honestly, kind of agree. There's a certain
Hmm.
point like where so many things, so many amendments, so many addendums, so many things have gotten in to where the American people get screwed because the corporations and such have so many more protections than we do.
Right.
It might be time to kind of burn it down and start over again. And I'm not saying like I'm like keep our constitution, keep our thing, everything like that. Maybe rewrite the constitution because I don't think that we even need to have a document that ever said that black like the 2/3 law.
Right.
We can move forward from that. We can rewrite. We can have those documents be there in museums and stuff like that, but we don't need to be operating off of them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
It's yeah.
so when
It's
you're
the
talking about like
Constitution.
yeah,
It's not the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, we can make a new one if we wanted to. Absolutely.
my God, you can amend it. People in this country love talking about a couple of those amendments in particular.
Sure,
Really, they
sure, yeah.
actually stop reading after the second one. Actually, most people can't even quote the actual Second Amendment.
No, yeah.
Like there's some specifics in there, but
Although, what was
like
it? What is it?
realistically,
The
like
Third Amendment is no quarters, right? Or no requirement of quarters.
is that the third?
I think I'm
I
trying to remember if
honestly
that's the third.
like I get it gets jumbled until I get like
Yeah,
down into like 13th.
because I'm trying to remember. I remember when I was a kid and
Well, we
learning
should
the
all know the
amendments.
Bill of Rights. I mean, that
We
is
should, you'd
probably
think. Well, and I feel
yeah.
like yeah, I feel like it's one of those things like they covered, and I was in fact quizzed on the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, when I was like in 7th grade, but then no one ever brought them up ever again after that. And
Yeah,
so
I
they
don't
just kind
remember
of
ever
like
talking about the Bill of Rights in
they
high school.
yeah, so yeah, it kind of got deleted for, be like, well, we don't need this shit anymore. But I do remember thinking that they're the one amendment that says, that the government cannot force me to house soldiers in my house, during times of war.
Hmm.
And I remember thinking, holy fuck, was that a thing? Like, oh my God, how much would that suck to just be like, hi, we got some soldiers here who are hungry and tired. They've been marching all night. We're sleeping at your place. Get the fuck out of the way. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Thank you, James Madison, for writing that one down. Like, you would think it would be a small thing, but um,
No, not so, not so small.
apparently
Um,
not. Yeah, that's
no, like the
but then reaching my 20s and finding out how many romance novels were written on that exact setup right there. And so now I'm a little weirded out by the whole thing.
that is a genre I have not come across yet. All like the books that I've auditioned to read and all that, nope. There was still okay. The first audiobook that I ever did, I wound up playing an Italian New York race car driver who got injured and is now part of the pit crew. And every time that we read the love scene, for some reason, I cannot for the life of me remember, my character needed to have a bucket.
A bucket of what?
I don't remember. There was just something. There was some reason in this romance novel that I read, and this was with Dana, the writer and the narrator that I'm trying to introduce.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, so the two of you were both narrating this together?
yeah,
Okay.
no, and we were sitting in there. I'm reading my scene. I'm like, and like I said, I'm not gonna go full accent and everything like that, but like I can't remember. It was like the climax of the moment and all that, and I'm like, and all I could do go over a bucket. Like, I had to take that line so many times because I could not stop laughing while I was delivering it, and Dana was like mastering my audio at the same time, and she was just fucking rolling on the floor. I was like, dude, like, what is this? Like, what? Who takes a bucket in the bedroom for sex? I don't want. No, no, never mind. I don't want. No.
Let's
No,
not. We're not
if
kink
there's an
shaming
answer,
anybody on this show.
oh, I'll kink shame the hell out of a lot of people. I'm not that guy. No, no. Yeah, I got some weird things I like. You got some weird things you like. You got some weird things you like. That is just human nature, okay? Whether you tell people or not, that's different. However, no, 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 no. Everybody's into weird things. I would, and that's the thing. If you're
If you
out there,
think
like,
if you think this is the moment where my ADD causes me to just start confessing to shit right now, no, I've been trained, bro.
oh no, see, I know you have a little bit of a lid when it comes in that regard. No, I'm talking like
I've had that happen
I
in
have
front of
had
too many
people tell
girlfriends'
me,
parents for me to not learn.
okay, this channel is not that kind of channel, so I'm not going into the detail here. But I have had people tell me some things that I want to call the cops. Now, I'm not saying because I know that they're illegal things. I'm saying I want to call the cops and go, excuse me, should I be reporting this person? This doesn't feel like a legal thing. But let me just be clear. What I'm not describing is nothing that any of us would immediately know is illegal or not. That's why I'm saying, like, it's nothing
Okay.
that bad.
I
It's
see what you're saying.
just not the person you want to invite over to your mom's Tupperware party, you know?
Okay. So what you're saying is while you're not out to kink shame anybody, you do feel that if you're going to tell someone, that opens you up to going, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
No, if you are willing to tell people, you're willing to get shamed. That, I'm sorry.
Which maybe that's your thing.
And that might be your kink. Maybe kink shaming is your kink. I don't want to be part of the game, though. So maybe I shouldn't have that conversation. That's
That would be a really difficult romance book to write. Someone whose kink is getting kink shamed. That would be
that's a comedy. That is a comedy romance novel. That actually sounds
that is a Jim
hilarious.
Carrey movie is what that is.
I missed.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get it, man. He's like what he said. Like I've respected the man my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
When he said, "I have enough."
Yep.
Man, when do you ever hear somebody say that?
It's first time.
On. That's what I'm loving about. I mean, we're like back to the political thing. That's what I'm really loving about it, man. I'm loving seeing humility and genuine persona, like that. I ain't seen that. That's what cost Hillary the election.
Yeah.
Like she should not have lost to Donald Trump. That like pretty much almost everybody agrees with that.
That was I agree. That was the main problem.
She walked in there acting like she gonna.
No, I agree. Yep. It was the overconfidence, the
however unpopular opinion,
borderline entitlement.
I remember saying this before the transfer of power, like when Obama was still in office.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump making it into the White House is the best thing that this country could have had happen.
Oh, you think it was a wake-up call that was needed?
I do. The average person, the average voter, is infinitely more informed and active compared to what they were in 20.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not
the
wrong.
amount of people who are involved in the political process and the amount of people who basically got activated, and it's like, okay, no, things are not just good. It does take work. It does take maintenance. A lot of people got involved in politics because of that. I think it was the best. It hurt But for the longevity of our country, I actually think it might have been a very
Well, fingers crossed. We're still seeing how the longevity plays
hey,
out.
that's just a
Yeah,
piece of my optimism showing.
and I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, well, let's see how the next 5 years goes, and then we'll know for sure if it was good for the longevity.
True, true. I know that Trump has said that he's not going to run again. So whether that's true or not, if he's alive, he's running. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. I mean,
no,
I don't
there's
think
no,
that's
yeah. If it, yeah, I mean, fingers crossed he doesn't live that long. Not that I wish anything bad to happen to him. It's just that it would really be nice to not have to hear about him anymore. Is all I'm saying.
it
If
has
he
been a
just
rough few decades.
shut the fuck up, then he can live as long as he wants.
Honestly, I mean, go back. I mean,
He doesn't
like
even want to be president.
he
I have
doesn't, and
never seen
he never
anyone.
did.
Yeah, I've never seen someone fight so hard for a job they hated so much.
The whole
Like,
like when he was in office, he kept talking about how much he missed his old life. He doesn't want to be president. Like he's
yeah,
this is like chasing pardons, I think, because the
yeah.
Supreme Court did say that his level of immunity, if he got back into office, was kind of
No, yeah, no. This is
total.
he's running from jail. That's his only motivation right now. Well, running from jail and staying in the spotlight because more than anything,
I
he
think it's more
cannot
staying
stay.
in the spotlight.
Yeah,
That's
he
like,
can't he
and that's
can't
why
stand not being
when
paid
the
attention
debate
to.
against Harris went down, it like her bringing up people leaving his rallies. That's why that hurt him so much because
Oh
that
yeah,
like at his
that
core,
was good.
he is not a
That was a good
politician.
one.
He
Yep.
is not. He is not the working man's man. He is not. No, at his core, he is an entertainer.
Yep.
And to tell an entertainer that people are leaving their shows early, that hurts.
He was
You
so
and I
right about
have both been on stage
that.
performing, and if we were the reason that people were leaving, ow.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, I've had it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So
Um,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if he was a politician, if he was the developer guy, if he was anything that he actually said that he was, that would not have hurt him.
mhm.
But he is the entertainer. So that's why that cut him. And like, so when he became president, I was rooting for him because rooting for him is rooting for my country.
That's the thing. It's like I even remember like
But I did
in
not want him
between.
to be in there, and I don't want him.
No, yeah, I remember in the in between, like after the election, but before he got in, I remember I was at the hotel and it was just me and the night security guy, and we were just both kind of sitting there going like, man, can you believe this? And and he goes, what do you think he's gonna do when he gets in? And I go, honestly, that's kind of the issue is that I have no fucking idea. Like this was a guy who spent the whole time saying whatever he needed to say to make the sale. What
Hmm.
he meant is a complete and utter mystery. We have no clue what he's going to do.
I
And he
remember
goes,
living in this
and he
like, oh, go
and
ahead.
he, and
Sorry,
he
go
even
ahead.
he even said that the security guard, I was talking to, he goes like, so you think like there's a chance he could get into office and then just do all the things Hillary said she was going to do? And I go, he could do that. He could do that. Like we both like held on to each other, like just like he could do that. He could do that.
That see, and there was the possibility that Trump, the guy who knew how to market and get ahead and do all of these things, would
Hmm.
actually have taken all the populist decisions and
Yep.
all of that and actually done that and gained all of that love and do all that. He could have done that.
He could have
He
done that.
very much could have. But and did he not? The
Yep.
fantasy that I was kind of living in for a little bit in between when he won the election and January 20th, I was fantasizing that he would step down and like give a speech about this is what happens when you don't pay attention. Someone like me, like I was just hoping like that he would realize he doesn't want to be there and he would
Right.
give like some sort of speech like that being like, guys, I don't want to be here, this is not a thing, this was a I was just fantasizing about honesty and then watching him step down and then Mike Pence be president, which that would have been pretty rough as well,
Yeah.
but in a way different way. I
Yep.
don't think Pence would have thrown out the Obama era pandemic playbook.
Probably not. No. No.
No, I think he actually would have understand that that was a bipartisan thing that was constructed for the betterment of the country. Trump was aware of it, and he literally threw it out because it had Obama's name on it.
That's the thing. Like Trump
I
was
don't think Pence would have done
Trump.
that.
Yeah, Trump's main thing was about just undoing everything Obama did. Pence was not that petty. He would have been a shitty president, but yeah, he wouldn't have undone the good things. Like he still would have tried to do the undoing Obamacare for sure. Um, he might have actually succeeded because he wouldn't have been as
He
bad
may
at it
have
as
actually
Trump
had
was.
something to replace it with. Trump
Yeah,
didn't. Like
that's
that
the
was their
thing.
whole thing is repeal and replace, and they tried to repeal, but it was the only reason it was not successful is because there was nothing to replace it with,
Exactly. Yep.
and because of John McCain's big thumbs down moment.
Which who knows how much of that? Because that's the thing. McCain was his own man. You never knew which way he was going to go. So how much of
No, that's
that
what made him
was,
great.
yeah, no matter how much of that made him, was it because of actual genuine policy belief, or was he really just sticking it to Trump because of how Trump stuck it to him?
Well, see, that was the thing about McCain. McCain was not as hard on the party line, which is why when Obama was running against him, I struggled with that a little bit.
It, it was.
I wound up voting for Obama
Mhm.
because I did believe that, and this is kind of how I feel about a lot of things. If you are the first of anything, you're going to try a lot harder than anybody who comes after you.
Yes, that's for sure.
Unless you phenomenally screw it up, then whoever comes after you is going to try way harder to prove that, this type of person can get it done.
Hmm.
So, in voting for the first black president, I honestly thought that he was going to push do better than anybody else because he came with a.
Because he was, yeah, yep.
So,
Because
honestly,
yeah,
I
he had.
voted for the black guy for racism. Just being
I was,
honest.
I've just always been, for me, it was, I bought into the sales pitch of the fact that he actually was going to do the progressive policies that he promised because he was a very slick talker, you know.
Well, it wasn't that he specifically kind of cut back on that.
Hmm.
Like Mitch McConnell straight up flat out said that it was his goal in life to block anything
And that
that
certainly
Obama
was
put
a bit,
front.
that certainly was a big thing about it. But like
And
the two,
Republicans
the,
ran the House during that time.
the two things that really got me, and they were really, really early on, and they were in that first two years when he had the supermajority that he could have basically done whatever he wanted to.
Hmm.
But he chickened out on some of the most important ones because he genuinely was worried that going too hard to the left was going to guarantee a red wave in 2 years, which happened anyway. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those like, motherfucker, what you
Well, that's the thing.
spent
I've
all
noticed this
you
throughout the
wasted your
years.
collateral for nothing.
Democrats get into office and they tiptoe, hoping for bipartisanship. Republicans get into office and they just do what they came to do.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Republicans, like Democrats, need to act more like Republicans if they want to get stuff done.
yeah.
Like no matter what you say, like if Republicans had the policies that would actually be better for the people, I'd be voting Republican every time because they are the more effective party.
Hmm.
When they aim to get something done, whether it's to get it passed or to get it trashed,
Yep.
they get it done.
Even if it doesn't make any damn sense, they still
Oh,
get it in there. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I would like to vote Republican because I feel like every time that I do vote Republican, what they said they were going to do, they're going to do. However, what the Republicans are like, keep saying they want to do now, I can't do it.
Right.
That's like I'm sorry, like economic policies, yeah, I do lean quite a bit more conservative when it comes to economic policies and things like that. You cannot get me to care about who somebody marries or sleeps with or what somebody wants to do with their genitals. You cannot get me to care. And
Yeah.
that is way too much over what the Republican ticket is all about these days.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, you go back to policies, you go back to giving me something. You actually have a platform that has to do with economic policies,
Hmm.
or farmlands or roads and bridges. You actually bring policies and things that you want to get done, and
Hmm.
stop talking about ripping people's rights away. I will vote Republican again. because, like I said, they are just they are more effective for whatever reason it may be. But and that's one thing that Vance did bring up at the debate.
Mhm.
They have lost the trust of the American people, and they need to get it back. He's right.
He is right about that.
Throughout
He's going
Trump's
about it through a
presidency,
really
they
weird
kept
way.
bringing it up that Donald Trump may represent the end of the Republican Party.
Well, I remember that was what Lindsey Graham's. That's the big quote that he was given during the primary, was that if Donald Trump becomes the primary candidate, that's the end of the Republican Party. And I
That's what,
mean,
yeah, I think he may have
yeah.
started that, but as people were going through, like even to this day, well, I guess I haven't heard of that recently, but there have been like Republican governors and senators that are going out there and they are yelling on the House floor, and they're like, the American people do not care about this. Stop.
Yeah.
And they are yelling at their Republican counterparts, and they're telling them, like, if you keep bringing this up, the American people are not going to vote for us. Our party will die.
Hmm.
Like, they are really, like, because they get it. They get that
Yeah.
we don't care. Like that, but and that's the thing. We want economic policies. We want bridges. We want roads. We want to go to clean beaches and lakes.
Hmm.
We do not care if our neighbor marries somebody that's the same sex. We just don't. We care way more about getting our rent paid
Right.
or
Yes.
getting into a home. Those are the things that we care about. So, Republican Party, stop talking about that crap and get to work, and people will vote for you again.
Hmm.
I know how liberal you are. I don't know if you're
Oh yeah.
enjoying the Republican advice.
Honestly, like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I am one
I
of those
want the
folks.
multiple party system, and I want them bouncing off of each other. I
The
want them
parliamentary system,
competing.
yeah. Well,
I want
that's
this.
ranked choice voting would help for that, and there's some places trying to introduce that.
Yeah.
Um, and
I do. I
well,
have heard
and
of
here's
that. I do actually like that.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
They got it in Alaska a couple years back, and I hear it's working out pretty well there so far.
Yeah.
Um, the what was it? Oh, I was gonna say like that's the thing is like yeah, yeah, I'm considered a pretty liberal guy, Some have accused me of being a communist. I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from on that. um, but the thing is that it's like I don't believe that these are extreme things. Like when you get down to it's like the greatest example of this was back in I want to say like it was like 2014, 2012 or something like that. And again, I realize I just got done shit talking the accuracy of polls, but this is still a pretty decent example. Polls being done
What
of
do you got?
different, likely voters and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And the question on that they were being asked was about the ACA, was about Obamacare, and how when they asked people like, "What do you think about this policy? What do we think about this policy? What do you think about this policy?" And instead of just asking, and then they would go, "Okay, so what do you think of Obamacare?" So when they marched down the policies that Obamacare had, they were like 80 to 90% in approval. It wasn't until you got to what do you think of Obamacare did it go down to like 30 to 40%. Because none of these people had been told what the fuck was actually in the ACA. They were just being told that Obamacare was bad, and that was it. If you can take out the buzzwords, if you can take out the rhetoric and the catchphrases and the talking points, if you can get down to the nitty gritty of, don't you think you should be able to afford to support your family on a full time job without having to work 6 overtimes? Everyone goes, well, yeah, sure. Like that's
Sounds
like
good.
nine, yeah. Paid family leave has like 70% approval. Um, Universal healthcare has like 70% approval. Background checks for guns has like 90% approval. Even
That's the
if
thing.
you,
Like I said, like I said,
these are
where I
these are
come from, a lot of conservative friends,
yeah.
everything like that. And that's the thing. Like when I jump, I listen to the news and I listen to these guys talk, and they're pushing their points, but I barely know anybody that actually agrees with everything they say.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, like so like my most conservative buddies, yeah, they want their gay neighbors to be able to protect themselves with a tank. They actually don't
Which
care that
that
their
would
neighbors are gay.
that would be fucking dope. Like a couple of gay guys running around in a little howitzer with a disco ball on top. Like,
Okay, I know that only one of us is military, but I promise you, Doc, howitzers are not little.
okay.
They're
What's the
big.
okay? What was the name of that the little tiny guy that would just like barely fit like two soldiers? Or what were those?
Like AP, like they have APCs that carry like
Maybe
eight
that's what
people.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, but even those are still bigger than cars. Yeah, no. I remember I remember being in Iraq and at my hooch, and I thought we were getting bombed, but it was
Mhm.
just the first time the tanks were driving by. Like just full on earthquake,
Okay,
and I'm like,
nice.
what? And I go outside, and this Bradley got to see some real Bradleys. M1 Abrams.
How long you been waiting to use that one?
A while. What,
No
man?
shade, man. No shade.
Not
I'm right there with you. I get it.
I just don't get that many opportunities. Like Brad is now one of the top 5 most unattractive names in the world.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Um, which sucks because why?
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, like I don't know why my parents even opted into name me Brad. Every douchebag on TV was named Brad in the 80s. I don't know why they went that direction.
It's a really good question. I've wondered that myself. I still am trying to figure out why my generation all decided to name their daughters Kaylee and no one can agree on the spelling. That one I'm still trying to figure out.
Oh, there you go. That's not the only thing. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why there are no other Bradley Hackworths like me, because my first name is misspelled. That's why like I went to AI and I was like, "Can you draw a picture?" And I spelled my name how you spell my name, and it drew a picture of me, and I was like, "Fuck, there really isn't another one."
Wow.
Damn,
It's
my
like
identity is really easy to steal.
did you ever see that did you ever see that that show The Detour?
Mm-mm.
I'm
What's
trying to
that one
remember
about?
who's well it starts out
Sounds
it
like an
almost
MTV type show.
kind of it had that vibe to it, but I think it was a USA Network show.
You
Um
know what they need to bring back real quick, up right
hmm,
before you get into this? Celebrity Deathmatch.
that was a fun one, wasn't it? Yeah.
The
Yep.
claymation and everything. They need to bring that back. Sorry,
Yep.
go ahead.
But it basically was like they made a TV series out of National Lampoon's Vacation. It was about a family on a road trip to
Okay.
their to a an amusement park, but they get detoured. It's why it's called the detour. Somehow this show went on for 5 seasons, and it was amazing all 5 seasons. I don't know how to explain it, but they pulled it off. I can't remember the dude's name, but he was one of the he's a Daily Show alum. He started out as one of the reporters for Daily Show, and then
Jon
he did
Stewart?
the not John Stewart. No, it was like I can't remember his name. You'd
Not
recognize
Oliver
him once
either.
you saw him. Yeah, you'd recognize him once you saw him.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, and but yeah, it reminded me of one of the bits in the show. One of the kids, because you got two parents, brother and sister. You know that whole nuclear family dynamic. The brother
yep.
in it, his name's Jared throughout the whole thing. But then we find out in season 3, I think they find out that his name's actually Jerub with a B because when he was born, his parents were both really high at the time, and they misspelled his name on the birth certificate.
Jason Jones.
Jason Jones, that's him. Yes. Yep. So yeah,
No,
you'd probably enjoy.
I thought you were describing an old show, but this one ran from 2014 to 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd probably enjoy it, and it's not a long watch. It's only like 10 episodes per season. So
Oh, really? Do you
yeah.
know what it's on?
Now, no. It was
Sure.
on USA, I think, when it went out. So it probably is Hulu right now. It would be my
Uh,
first guess.
yeah, that does. Yeah, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
know, like, cause Netflix gets a lot of too.
They do. I
Yeah,
I I would think that if it was on Netflix, it would have popped up on one of my
I would
recommended
have.
for.
Yeah, I would assume so too. I mean, that's kind of my humor, so I would have guessed so. But here we are. What is the date today? It's the third, right?
Yeah.
33 days.
Whew.
33 days till we find out what happens.
It's gonna be intense.
Actually, it's not going to be 33 days because like I said earlier, because of the Trump loyalists that are throughout the country in those positions of the electors,
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. It's
we
gonna it's
don't
gonna
we
be
don't
drawn
know what's
out.
going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. There's election day, and then there's when we actually get results. It could be a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple TV. It's on Apple TV, or you can buy it on Amazon streaming. So yeah, those are your options. Sorry.
Too many. Too many services. There's
Yeah,
too many services, man. And this is
I
ridiculous.
concur.
I'm bored with this. Like what we have to do now, or not what we have to do, but what we do is every month we only do 1 month of a streaming service, and then we
Mm,
cancel it immediately, and then we go over, and then the next month we check out the catalog, and then we go through what movies, what shows, everything like that. We'll go with this one this month. But the people who have like all these streaming services, oh my god, how much money are they like?
yeah,
There are
you're
people who
spending.
are spending so much money they don't even realize it because of all the things they've subscribed to.
That's the
That
thing is
sucks.
you're spending twice as much than you did on cable TV for like not even a quarter of the total content that you got
Right.
with cable TV. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a bummer, but I mean, like, it's kind of weird because like now we have like these bundle packages, which I'm loving the jokes on the memes that come out of. That's like, wow,
Mm,
we went so long that we reinvented cable.
yeah, yeah.
Like, and yeah, how accurate is that? That's literally what we did. Now we have commercials on like all streaming services, and we can't knock them. Are you kidding me here? Like I thought we were doing pretty okay for a while,
Well,
but
and it just well, and this brings me. Look, it's the stock market again, man. Because they wouldn't have to do this if they could just be happy with the fact that they're turning a profit. If they were making $20 million a year in profit, they'd if you and I would be fine. If we had a company that was turning $20 million a year in profit, we'd be like, fuck it. What do we even spend this on? You
yeah,
know?
I ran the
But
numbers on that at one point. Like, if you make $1 million a year, you are profiting $83,000 a month. You're
yeah,
doing fine.
yep. But these companies can't do that. If they don't make $30 million next year, their company dies because they're fucking traded on the stock market, and everyone will sell their stock, and they will crater. And because of that, they cannot be happy. They have to find a way to keep fucking squeezing us.
Well, I mean,
That
that's
is the
just kind
that is
of
it's
generally
the
how it
it's
goes.
hmm?
That's just generally how it goes.
It wouldn't have to if we didn't have the stock market.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, like, I'm not opposed to changing some things, like getting this, like, changing the system, moving some things around, but it actually has to be things that will be
Hmm.
effective. The
Yep.
problem is, no rich person wants to stop being rich, and no average person wants to lose their chance at becoming rich.
Oh no, that's
And
I
that
get
is
that.
and that is what stops a lot of people from doing it because realistically, and it sucks that it is realistic for some, when a family member dies, you're rich.
Hmm.
And when you get their assets and stuff like that, people don't want to create a situation where they know that they will never get assets like that again.
No, it's true.
Like that, like actually getting people to make that kind of change, it will never happen because once you start getting into the fine details of that, I remember talking to some of my friends out in Washington. It's hard when you live in the city, like some in certain ways. when it comes to like systemic racism and things like that, it can be hard to see in certain ways,
Hmm.
and hard to understand how it is not a personal decision how people wind up in certain situations. However, where I come from, black people, Native Americans, Asians, we're not allowed to have land rights. Those people are still alive, living in that area of the country because
Hmm.
of laws that their property was taken from them and sold to somebody who looked more like me for nickels on the dollar.
Yeah.
So when you are talking to people and you're going around, nobody that you have met has mineral rights, water
Right.
rights, all this. None of them are people of color. They're only white people.
Hmm.
And it's because of government systems that were in place before. So
Yeah.
when you don't grow up in an area like that, and even when you do grow up in an area like that, you don't really want to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's that white privilege. That literally is the white privilege. No people of color had them. No people
Right.
of color had the rights to have them. And that level of
And
wealth
it,
that carried over, I don't have them. Nobody in my family has them.
no, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't know people who do. And their lives, wow, the head start that they got.
Hmm.
And like the monthly checks that came in to help them out. Wow. No, so it's things like that that have affected the people of color in this country, which kind of gotta fix some stuff.
Yeah, because it's
I do agree with it.
like I do understand where some of these folks are coming from and going like, look, this wasn't me. Yeah, sure, my grandpappy fucked some shit up and stuff, but it's like I was just born into this. Why should I have to,
And I see
sacrifice
that side too.
for something? But at the same time, it's like you got to admit that while yes, the damage was done generations ago, absolutely nothing has been done to fix that damage. So the damage is still there and will remain there until it is fixed. Someone's got to do it. And that is a really, really uncomfortable thing to deal with.
It's real. I'm sorry. Like in a way, not in a way different vein, but in a slightly different vein. Did
Mhm.
you see that huge activist for reparations find out that her family owned slaves?
I did not hear about that. No,
It was
no,
a
that
black
sounds,
woman, which that's probably why she did not see that coming at all.
yeah.
But yes, there were black people who owned black people. That
Mhm.
was a thing too that happened back then. But when she found out that if the programs that she wanted to have happen, her family would be owing that money, wow, did she shut up fast.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
And that was where the shame really kind of kicked in. Like you had an
There was,
opportunity. You had an opportunity to show that even if it affected you, you would still do it. Like you would still do it. You would still fight for it. And
hmm
instead, man, you got greedy.
that's, yeah.
Like, way to give all the
It
people who
was,
opposed you solid ground to stand on.
yeah.
Like
That's,
that was a
wow.
ooh mm-mm. That was a bad move.
This close
I
to
don't know
really
if
making a stand. Yeah.
well, I don't know if I don't know if she ever came back after that. But oh my god, reaching out to her for a statement on that, wow, that like how much she was walking back statements and everything, and well, I need to think about some things. It's like, no, you don't. You don't need
Wrong
to think
answer.
about anything. Way wrong answer. Like,
It's a shame.
but
Just
that
thing is,
like
I don't know. I'm like relatively certain that nobody in my family owns slaves. I'm not 100% sure on that, and I'm
I'm a
going
hundred
that
percent certain people in my family did.
okay. I'm going that mainly on the fact that I'm pretty sure my family didn't come here until after emancipation, but I'm not
Oh, really?
100% sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that though. Um,
My family
like I've said before, I've
predates
never really
the
cared that
American
much about my
Revolution.
heritage. Um, but
So yeah, we like with my family being here predating the American Revolution. Yep, we were. Yeah, We were part of
Mhm.
the. We have. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's
But,
where the black Hackworths that are in this country,
okay.
from my understanding,
Got
somebody
that.
somebody back in the day with my name owned
Mhm.
somebody back in the day.
Right.
Now that could have that like that is just the best guess.
Right.
I would like to know more. I would like to find out more, everything like that. Um, I'm kind of cool with reparations, but I mean, realistically, they ain't coming from me.
That's the thing. Yeah, I
I
haven't
mean,
got
I'm
anything
so
to give.
fucking
Yeah.
poor. What do you, what do you want from me? I'll come over.
Yeah.
I'll help you. I'll help you build some. I'll help you do some woodworking.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
what.
actually, here's an interesting. There was literally. Have you heard of the show Atlanta? The
Yeah.
Don. Yeah, there was an episode of Atlanta that was kind of like almost like a Twilight Zone-ish episode of what if reparations happened, and it was put in forms of they were able to trace uh all the descendants, back to, it's like, okay, your great great grandfather owned my great great grandfather, so basically you get your paycheck garnished like child support to go support this other person. It was an interesting episode because they ended it with the like two white guys who are now working as waiters at a hoity-toity restaurant, and all the customers are black. And they're sitting there talking about it, and he's like, what do you like, and one says to the other, he goes like, yeah, this sucks. He's like, but the upside is now my daughter doesn't have to worry about this.
Oh, so it was a temporary thing.
Oh, it basically was like he's paying the reparations for the rest of his life, but once he's done, the reparations are paid. And so that stain on the family is now clean. So now his kids and his grandkids won't have to worry about that hanging over
That is an interesting concept. That's a interesting way to go about that.
him.
However, yeah, that would fuck over an entire generation of a specific race, and that
Hmm.
fucking over one race because before another. I mean, that's the thing. Like
It's one
we,
of those two wrongs not making a right kind of thing. Yes, I know what you're
yeah, but you
saying.
still do want to do something.
Something, yeah,
But it is kind of
and
thick because but
and
I
it's
think
easy.
I think what everybody knows is if you do that, then you create another system with another kind of resentment, and that is going to carry on
Right.
into future generations because
Everybody who has to sell their family farm to pay off the ex-slaves, now they're going to be pissed for the next four generations,
exactly like
over it.
the
Yeah.
pendulum swings, and that's the thing. Like because that's all we've done with our problems in this country past few hundred years is we just your problem, fixing yours. Now it's their problem. Fixing theirs.
Yeah.
Now it's yours. It just that's all it has been. And granted, I'm a little bit
Which,
harsh on our country because that is not entirely true. There have been things that have gotten better, just not as fast and as better as
yeah.
we. And realistically, it's only
Well,
because we haven't done it.
and here's the thing. And here's the thing, though.
Hmm?
And I know, and again, this is the liberal commie of me showing, if we had enough of these things like social safety nets, like the, universal health care, paid family leave, higher uh, um, minimum wage, so on and so forth. If we basically went down the line of the progressive uh, Christmas list, as it were, um, reparations wouldn't be that much of an issue because they wouldn't need it. If everybody was getting a fair shake, then
My
we wouldn't
suggestion for
we wouldn't
reparations
need to
was
hoik people back
universal
up.
college, or
Also a great idea. Yes. And
that was my idea.
yeah, not just universal, but frankly, at this point, when we consider just how important a higher education has become in the modern day age, I'm starting to think we should be making bachelor's degrees as compulsory as high school diplomas.
I'd agree.
So it's like you
Because I
go
think
right.
high school education should still revolve around history, that,
Mhm.
and they've been replacing history with computer sciences.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that's a really big mistake.
No,
I
I
think the
agree.
base education should still be a history, art
Humanities.
history, philosophy, critical thinking.
Yep.
I think those all should be primary components and lessons that the average person gets.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. Since AI has really kicked up, man, I am getting a college education like crazy because I just am fascinated by things that I have not been able to get access to.
Oh,
That
okay.
information is in college textbooks. Asking those questions, they're hard to find the answers to.
So
AI
asking
has
the
made
AI
this,
to summarize it for you has been a big help, huh?
it has, and then taking the summarization and then diving into specific details at my own speed has,
I could see that. Yeah.
yeah, no, like I'm seeing some great stuff in the future. I'm also, but the problem with that is it's my motivation and my discipline towards furthering my own education or my own goals
Right.
is why that's working for me. Not everybody has the same level in
Yep.
the same level of motivation and discipline towards the same thing. Like we know there are people are using AI for. That's where it's going. That is going to be the primary resource of it for
Wait,
a
say that
lot
one
of
more.
people.
You cut out on me there for what?
Oh, there are a lot of people who are just going to be using AI for porn.
Oh, well, sure. Everything eventually
That's
becomes
all
porn.
it's going
Yeah.
to be for them. Like I understand that not everybody is going to try to get smarter. I have been. I but also just satiating general curiosities that a lot of people have had. I can see how AI just really helps satisfy the curiosity.
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong, even like it's shit, I could go on about this for hours.
Well,
um,
we crossed an hour, and after everything this week, I
oh
could
yeah.
use some sleep. Are you got, or go ahead. You got more to say on AI? Go for it. But we'll wrap it
No,
up
it's
after.
going to take too long. We'll have to save that for another day. We may have to commit an episode to AI because I have a lot to say about
You
that.
want to try to do an AI after hour next week?
Why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Hey, we're
Yes.
doing a backup episode on Tuesday. If you want to do an after hour on that as well, I don't think we need to schedule the after hours.
That's a good idea. I'm down.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday for the after hour, and then we'll be back Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time for the actual episode.
Live long and prosper, humans.
That's really how you had to end that?